Hey, and welcome! A little while ago on the channel I made a video looking at various classic Doom commercials from back in the day, and people seem to really enjoy that. Bringing these old pieces of media to you has been really fun, and reading all the reactions has been pretty interesting. Given that there's plenty more examples out there in the wild, I figured it'd be fun to do a part 2 to that video. So in this outing, I'm going to be taking a look at various old school Doom commercials. Some of these are not commercials in the traditional sense, some of them actually just make use of the Doom aesthetic, and you'll see that in the Microsoft Bill Gates crossover, which, you know, is hilarious all to itself, but I just wanted to give you a vibe for how Doom has been used in various media to try and promote the game and to also sell it. So let's dive in and have a look at these classic old school Doom commercials.
Doom. やるかやられるか Doom 64 8月1日発売
The thing with this advert is that it keeps things short, sharp and sweet, and I think that works to the benefit of Doom 64 here. Even with the language barrier, it's very easy to see what this advert is trying to convey. There's a moody sense of atmosphere that I think is very reminiscent of what's going on in Doom 64 itself. We get to see a nice chunk of solid gameplay here, even though the advert itself isn't even that long. It is interesting to me that all this footage comes from one level. It doesn't actually get spread around. We also get this weird part here where ThatNukemGuy just sort of shoots this monster and we just kind of get like this gory little like splatter of purple blood. It's very interesting, very unique, and definitely not like any of the other adverts that we've seen so far. Considering that this is only about 15 seconds long anyway, I actually really like it, and it gets to the point very quickly, so good one on you, Doom 64.
Something went wrong, so they sent in the troops.
These things are not human replicates origin unknown.
But there was one man who was under orders to stay outside.
Situation negative! Repeat! Situation negative! Get the out of there! Damn it! Can anyone respond? Boys, get the out of there!
That one man was left with no choice but to go in and do unto others before they do unto him. That man is you.
Introducing the ultimate Doom from id Software. It's Doom, voted best game of all time by PC Gamer magazine in its original entirety, plus the all-new Way Sicker Than Ever, Episode 4, Thy Flesh Consumed. It's the ultimate Doom.
So this is a particularly interesting commercial, as it's not a TV commercial, it's actually a radio commercial that was listed on Romero's official website for a good few years. I'm not quite sure if it's there now. When I went looking, the page seemed to be down, but people have said that this was up on the website, and so I'm going to analyze this as though it was real. And you have to say that for a radio commercial, it's actually pretty great. It uses a lot of in-game audio, it uses a lot of sound beats from the original Doom game, and clearly this is for the Ultimate Doom, so this would have been around 1995, mid 1995 if would be more accurate, that this would have been playing on radios. Now, did this ever make it to airwaves? I don't know, but it's fascinating to think that maybe someone bought Doom because they heard this and were like, wow, that sounds really cool. Obviously with radio you don't get to see the gameplay, so we can't really talk about the gameplay, but there is a lot of enemy sounds used in this. There's quite a variety used actually. In fact, I'm pretty sure there's a Hell Knight sound used in there, which obviously Hell Knights were not in the Ultimate Doom. Barons of Hell had their own distinct sound, so curious. I'm wondering if like the person who made this was just using like generic Doom sounds from Doom 1 and Doom 2 and wasn't really sort of picking between them. It is what it is. It's a radio commercial from the mid-1990s, uses a lot of the audio cues from the Doom experience, and it even tells the Doom story. I think this actually tells the story of Doom more concisely and in more detail than the actual final game does itself. So good on you, radio, for being the one to actually tell the story of Doom, because let me tell you, Ultimate Doom does not bother outside of those splash screens at the end of each episode. Interesting, very interesting.
These games are getting really realistic. Next year I might even play in the big Doom tournament. You might wonder what I'm doing here. Well, I'm getting kind of an inside look at some of these new games. I think you'll be amazed at all the new games we're going to show you here this evening. We've got a few key points to remember. First, Windows 95 is the game platform. Whether it's the best performance, the best setup, the best integration, with the toolkits we're putting together, we're going to make sure people are very focused on Windows 95. DOS, it's been impossible to install the games. Hard for the developers, hard for the users, tough support problems, and nowhere near the graphics performance we're getting today with our DirectX APIs. A second key point is that we think the PC really is the entertainment platform for the future. We're going to have the best performance, the way to reach out and do multiplayer games, lots of new peripherals, and the improvements just keep coming. Our commitment is to make the tools, to make the platform better and better.
Yeah.
Don't interrupt me. And a third point is I really want to thank all the third parties who've made this possible. The reaction of the game community has been fantastic. I will be showing you here 75 new games, all of which will be coming out by the end of the year. We really believe that with their help we'll be able to clean up this DOS mess and get everything focused on Windows. And it's our commitment to keep moving ahead and doing that. Well, I better go work on cleaning up this neighborhood here. So I'm off. But don't forget, when you're trying out our haunted house, don't lose your head. See you.
So of course this is the infamous Bill Gates Microsoft Doom crossover, and this came at a very interesting time where there were a ton of rumours in the video game industry that Microsoft was looking to acquire id Software outright. Remember that there is that infamous rumour floating around as well that there were more versions of shareware Doom 1 installed on Office PCs and PCs throughout the world than there were Windows 95, and of course to someone like Bill Gates that probably didn't sit well with them. But of course, this is Bill Gates leaning into the Doom aesthetic, and it's not technically a commercial, but at the same time it kind of is, because this was the opening salvo for a bunch of other games that they were going to be showing off, and clearly Bill Gates thought that Doom was going to be a massive draw because he's stuck himself right into the Doom experience here. I do have to say that it does showcase how strong the Doom brand was around this time. The fact that the richest man in the world at the time, I think he was the richest man in the world at the time, was willing to do this, it just goes to showcase like the power of Doom. It's also worth noting that this is trying to showcase Doom 95 as a viable way to play Doom, which of course would become the main way that many people would experience Doom on PC as DOS was slowly phased out throughout the back end of the 1990s. When you think about it, Bill Gates kind of got his way because everyone was playing Doom on Windows through Windows 95 for a good long time. Even the official releases on PC, the Doom Classic Collection back in the day, came with all of the Doom 95 executables. So, you know, Bill Gates won out in the end, and this, while we may laugh at it now for how silly it is, you know, it won in the end, so I guess more fool on us.
32 completely new levels. The best Doom 2 master levels. The newest Doom 2 episodes, TNT, Evolution and the Plutonia Experiment.
The fascinating thing for me is that this commercial even exists at all. Final Doom on PlayStation 1 was kind of an afterthought to everyone. id Software, Williams, everyone was working and focusing towards Quake and Doom 64, so this kind of feels like a very interesting showpiece for what they were trying to achieve with Final Doom on PlayStation 1. I do have to laugh at the fact that they keep calling it a Doom 2 level collection, and it's funny to me that because that's exactly what this feels like. If you ever played PS1 Final Doom, you'll know that there aren't that many Plutonia or TNT levels in the mix. It's mostly master levels for Doom 2, and this commercial basically outright says that, and it's just funny to me that they even bothered to call this Final Doom in the first place. We get to see a lot of in-game footage though, which is really, really nice, and I'm guessing that they're doing this because by this point they were like, okay, everyone knows what Doom is, people are gonna buy it or they won't buy it, and I'm guessing people did buy it because, you know, Final Doom on PlayStation 1 did sell quite well on the platform. Not as well as the original offering on PlayStation 1, but it obviously achieved its aims. Do I think this is a great commercial? It's an okay commercial. It's obviously designed to try and capture a specific audience, and I think it does that very well. But for me, like, I am just amazed that I cannot find a PlayStation 1 commercial for the original Doom, yet I can find this for Final Doom. This is a commercial for the Game Boy Advance version of Doom 1, developed by David A. Palmer Productions, and I have to say, it's very reflective of what the final version is. I do suspect that maybe some of that multiplayer footage is being played on a dev kit rather than a real hardware, because let me tell you, from all the footage I've ever seen of Doom multiplayer on Game Boy Advance, it doesn't run that smooth, but that aside, I think this is quite reflective of what the final version of Game Boy Advance Doom actually delivers, because, you know, it has the same HUD, it has the same enemy sounds. I do notice that they are using a lot of the different levels, so they are kind of showing off a lot of the game here, and I think it's pretty fun. It's not the most interesting of adverts, and I do think the music used is very odd choice. It has a very generic, like, rock sound to it. I don't quite understand why they didn't just use some of the music from Doom rather than whatever this is, because this just feels like the backing noise to every HMV you've ever been in, if you've ever been in the UK. But in my opinion, it's fine. It's a very uninspired advert. It's clearly just been thrown together to sell this version of Doom, which is a bit unfortunate because it didn't really sell that well. So clearly, if someone in the advertising department had taken more than 10 seconds to choose that song, maybe they would have got a few more views on this one, but hey ho.